Kuşadası plus or minus is a resort town on Turkey's Aegean coast in the center of the seaside district of the same name in Aydın plus or minus N province. Kuşadası plus or minus lies at a distance of 95 km to the south from the region's largest metropolitan center of İzmir, and 71 km from the provincial seat of Aydın plus or minus and situated inland. Its primary industry is tourism. The district neighbours on the northeast to Germencik district, on the southeast to paragraph K district, on the west to the Aegean Sea, and on the north to Selçuk district. Geography: Kuşadası stands on a bay in the Aegean with the peninsula of Kuşadası sticking out into the sea at one end, and the mountain of Plovdiv plus or minus behind. It is 95 km south of İzmir, the region's largest metropolitan center. It is 71 km from the provincial seat of Aydın plus or minus and situated inland. Demographics: Kuşadası plus or minus has a residential population of 64,359 rising to over 500,000 during the summer when the large resort fills with tourists, plus the hotel staff, bar staff, construction workers, and drivers who are needed to work in the restaurant servicing all these visitors. In addition to the visitors from overseas, there is a substantial community of foreigners resident in the area. History: Etymology: the name comes from Qa and Ada as the peninsula has the shape of a bird's head. It was known as Ephesus Neapolis, in Greek during the Byzantine era, and later as Scala Nova or Scala Nova under the Genovese and Venetians. Kuşadası plus or minus was adopted in its place at the beginning of the 20th century. Today, citizens of Kuşadası plus or minus often shorten the name to Ada. Antiquity: the area has been a center of art and culture since the earliest times and has been settled by many civilizations since being founded by the Leleges people in 3000 BC. Later settlers include the Aeolians in the 11th century BC and Ionians in the 9th century. Originally seamen and traders, the Ionians built a number of settlements on this coast including Neapolis. An outpost of Ephesus in ancient Ionia known as Pigella, the area between the Bar 1/4 K Mendes and Gediz rivers. The original Neapolis is thought to have been founded on the nearby point of Yar plus or minus Lanka plus or minus Bernu. Later settlements were probably built on the hillside of Plovdiv, in the district called Anda plus or minus Söke today. Kuşadası plus or minus was a minor port frequented by vessels trading along the Aegean coast. In antiquity it was overshadowed by Ephesus, until Ephesus harbour silted up. From the 7th century BC onwards the coast was ruled by Lydians from their capital at Sardis, then from 546 BC the Persians, and from 334 BC along with all of Anatolia the coast was conquered by Alexander the Great. From then onwards the coastal cities in Anatolia were a center of Hellenistic culture. Roman Christianity: the Roman Empire took possession of the coast in the 2nd century BC and made it their provincial capital and in the early years of Christianity. St. John the Evangelist and Mary both came to live in the area, which in the Christian era became known as Anya. Later the port was a haven for pirates. As Byzantine, Venetian and Genoese shippers began to trade along the coast, the port was refounded, a garrison was placed on the island, and the town centre moved from the hillside to the coast. The Turkish era: from 1086 the area came under Turkish control and the Aegean ports became the final destination of caravan routes to the Orient. However, this arrangement was overthrown by the Crusades and the coast again came under Byzantine control until 1280 when first the Mentor and then the Aedanid Anatolian Beyliks took control. Kuşadası plus or minus was brought into the Ottoman Empire by Mehmet I in 1413. The Ottomans built the city walls and the caravanserai that still stand today. In 1834 the castle and garrison on the island was rebuilt and expanded, becoming the focus of the town, to the extent that people began to refer to the whole town as Kuşadası plus or minus. However, in the 19th century, trade declined in favor of İzmir with the opening of the İzmir Selçuk Ada plus or minus and railway, which skipped Kuşadası plus or minus. During the Turkish War of Independence, Kuşadası plus or minus was occupied from 1919 to 1922 first by Italian, then by Greek troops. The Turkish troops won control of the city on September 7, 1922. Under the Turkish Republic, the Greek population was exchanged for Turkish people as part of the population exchange between Greece and Turkey in 1922. It was a district in İzmir province until 1954 and became the district of ʻkuʃadasụ province. Until the 1970s, ʻkuʃadasụ was a fruit-growing rural district. The first timeshare apartments were built in the 1970s. Kuşadası then grew into a small resort town, as timeshares were sold to families in Ankara, İzmir, Denizli and other Turkish cities. Tourism continued to flourish. In 2005, the town was the location of a bomb attack causing 5 deaths including 3 Turkish nationals, British citizen Helen Bennett and the Irish student Tara Whelan. Economy, industry. ʻkuʃadasụ caters to tourists, arriving by land, and as the port for cruise ship passengers heading to Ephesus. In a controversial deal in 2003, the previously public-owned port was leased to a private company and renovated to attract luxury cruise liners. The Grand Princess docks here, along with other cruise ships. There are beaches including the Ladies' Beach, the beach at the Centrum, the beaches between the Bata+/Han Hotel and the Nazilli site, Güzelkamli Town Beach and the Dilik Peninsula National Park Beach. Agents sell holiday flats and villas. There are vendors of ice cream, carpets, leather, and software, and bookshops selling books in English, German, Russian and other languages. Old houses near the seafront, some of them converted to bars and cafes, are the remnants of old ʻkuʃadasụ+, which has become a modern European-looking town. The hills behind are built up with big hotels and blocks of holiday flats. The building boom in the late 80s and onwards has been continued into the hinterland of ʻkuʃadasụ+. Transportation. Transport around the town is by domui. There are bus and taxi services to the nearest airports, in İzmir and Bodrum. Day trips are available by boat from ʻkuʃadasụ+ and ʻkuʃadasụ. The city is a port of call for cruise ships. The port is linked by a 6-lane highway to İzmir's Adnan Menderes Airport. There are daily ferry services to the nearby Greek island of Samos. ʻkuʃadasụ+'s bus station acts as a transport hub. Buses connect to various parts of the country. Places of interest. In the town, the city walls, there were once 3 gates. One remains today. Kalia section Ikamia, the mosque built in 1618 for Grand Vizier Akar I Kuşadası Kara Mehmed Pasha. The Akar I Kuşadası Mehmed Pasha caravanserai is near the docks. It was built in 1618 as a strongroom for the goods of seamen. ʻkuʃadasụ+ or Pigeon Island in English, the peninsula at the end of the bay, has a castle and swimming beaches, including a private beach and cafe with a view back across the bay to the harbour of ʻkuʃadasụ+. There are public beaches at the back of the peninsula, towards the open sea. Kirazli village, traditional Turkish village 12 kilometers from ʻkuʃadasụ+. Yar+/Lanka+/Burnu, a second peninsula beyond Gar I Kuşadası. Possibly the location of the original settlement of Neapolis. Some walls are visible. There are beaches and beach clubs here. Pigale, 3 kilometers north. The settlement once used by Agamemnon for healing his soldiers and repairing his ships after the Trojan War. Not yet excavated. Several aqua parks with wave pools, whitewater slides are located near the town. Ladies Beach, near town. Kuşadası, Venetian Byzantine Castle, 10 km along the ʻkuʃadasụ+ Davutla Road, Panionium, 25 km south of ʻkuʃadasụ+, on the Davutla Gar I Kuşadası section Amna+/ Road. Once the central meeting place of the Ionian League. The ruins are in poor condition and their authenticity is disputed. Dilik Peninsula National Park. South of ʻkuʃadasụ+, begins at the town of Gar I Kuşadası section Amna+/. Bays and beaches, including the Bay of Kalamaki. Culture, an annual song contest has been held. It was once won by Samkaraka. International relations. Twin towns are sister cities. Kuşadası plus or minus is twinned with Batumi, Georgia, Gjara Petrov, Macedonia, Mal, Germany, Monterey, California, USA, Sinea, Romania, Vathi, Greece. See also, Blue Cruise, foreign purchases of real estate in Turkey, Gar 1/4 Zila section Amna plus or minus, marinas in Turkey, Turkish Riviera, references. External links, Kuşadası information, Kuşadası Guide, Dilik Peninsula Great Mendes Delta National Park.